Hello, I'm Dennis Jers. Welcome to my Special Topics in American Literature course, where we will focus on the Pittsburgh-born playwright August Wilson. I'll talk a little bit more about August Wilson a little bit later. There's a video bio that I'm asking you to watch. Again, a Special Topics course in American literature focusing on a particular literary figure of literary significance. And I've mentioned the word literature and literary a couple times. Well, what does that mean? I'm going to take a sidestep to show you this painting, René Magritte. I'm not going to be able to pronounce the French under there, but the translation is, "This is not a pipe." The title of the poem translates as "The Treachery of Images." Well, why would a painter claim that this is not a pipe? It's a picture of a pipe. You don't judge this picture by how well you can, stuff it with tobacco and smoke it. A good picture of a pipe is very different from a good pipe. So if we use historical documents to identify exactly which mulberry tree Vincent van Gogh was thinking of or looking at when he painted this picture, and if we took measurements of that original tree and we sort of judged this painting of a tree based on how accurately it represents a particular real tree, then we'll be missing a lot of what makes art important to many cultures around the world. And I'm going to keep using a few art images as I work through this idea. This is not a painting of a tree. It's not an accurate photo of a tree. It's a representation of a tree. It's stylized and exaggerated. It's different from a tree. And it is not supposed to do everything that a tree does. We study a painting to learn about art. We don't study a painting to learn about trees. So here's a completely different painting. Degas was more known for his portraits of ballerinas than his landscapes. But here we have a line of trees that are more like a blobby smear than a photograph. These trees frame and conceal this path. The trees in this painting serve a different function than the tree in the Van Gogh painting. Vincent van Gogh gave us this particular tree. It's got distinct edges. It's not a blobby background smear like the Degas. This one has edges that make the branches kind of jump out, and they're interior swirls that make you think maybe of the motion of leaves in the wind. He painted his tree this way. It's not the same as a photo of a tree, and the differences in Van Gogh's painting of a mulberry tree between a photograph and this painting, they're different differences than we see in the differences between this painting of trees, the smeary, blobby backgrounds. They differ from photographs, but they each differ in different ways. Now, there's more to talk about in art than how something differs from a photograph. That's just one example. The main idea is just to emphasize that when we are studying paintings of trees, those paintings won't teach us much about real trees. If we want to study real trees, we should go out and look at trees, or we should look up, botanical textbooks about trees. We don't use paintings of trees to win arguments about real trees. We turn to botany, or we look at our own senses, and we go out and actually engage with a real tree. So in an art history class, listing facts about real-world biological phenomenon like photosynthesis won't really help us understand art that represents plants. A painting of a tree is not a living thing that photosynthesizes. So the real world process of photosynthesis, studying that and quoting details about photosynthesis doesn't really help us understand the painting of a tree. In a similar way, in our literature class, listing facts that you might have learned from your psychology class about, a real world psychological process like grieving or child development or how to diagnose a mental health problem, those details won't really help us understand literature because characters in a work of literature are not real people who grieve. They're not real children who develop. They don't have, a mental health problem that can be diagnosed and treated. That's not the function that they play. All right, if you've already taken a college literature class, then your professors have probably given you some version of this lesson, so it's going to be a review. But if this is new to you, don't worry. I'll keep coming back to it. I just wanted to emphasize this to get started. We'll read, for instance, plays in which characters grieve, but we can't use details from a play to prove a point about grief in the real world. We will read about characters who encounter racism and sexism and all kinds of other problems, but we can't quote from fictional characters in order to prove something about racism or sexism or other social ills in the outside world. These plays certainly depict characters who undergo various challenges, but the real world doesn't necessarily, things that are true of the real world are not necessarily going to be true of the fictional worlds we're going to be studying. And details from these fictional worlds won't necessarily help you prove a point about the outside world. We study this painting of a pipe to look at things other than how useful is, how closely does this painting match a real world pipe. That's only one of 100 different ways we could approach a painting, but we would never judge this painting based on whether you can roll up tobacco in it and smoke it. That's not what a painting is for. In a similar way, we read literature for reasons other than to prove points about the real world. We read literature in order to make points about and study and learn about the words that the author chose in order to make some kind of artistic, creative effect. Again, there will be time for us to process this if you're new to it. Okay, so I'm going to kind of take you through a tour of the Canvas page. Let's go to the home page in Canvas. I will go ahead and publish this now. It's not completely finished, but I'm ready to get it published. Your sort of command post for Canvas, obviously here on the home page. Here's a link that will take you to the syllabus, which has all these details about, what my late policies are, how to contact me, all the university policies, course learning goals, and there will be assignments coming up that will ask you to look at that syllabus. So I'm not going to spend time walking through all the contents right now, but that's where you will find answers to a lot of questions. Module section of the syllabus breaks down the assignments that are due for each day. And this most assignments will be due at midnight, although these 4 assignments that are due on the first day, if you are adding into the class late, don't panic. Just catch up, do these assignments when you can. But most days there will be deadlines around midnight. Sometimes I fiddle with the dates, so this might be due at 11:57 at night, and this is 11:58 at night. That doesn't mean that I think this will take you exactly 1 minute, but I'm playing with those exact due dates in order to get these courses to appear in the proper order on the calendar page, which is, I think, a very useful page to look at. So here on the calendar page, you'll get a sense that, just reminding you, in our class, we have something like 16 weekdays to cover material that we would ordinarily cover in about 16 weeks. So we have a non-trivial amount of work to do every week. Now, all these assignments are due just before midnight each day. Here on Friday, I'll be honest, I'm not going to be up at midnight checking to see whether you submitted this work on Friday. So this assignment, I'm just going to drag that. If you don't want to work on Sunday, you're welcome to do all your work on Friday. But that particular assignment, I'm pushing back to Sunday, just to give you a little bit more break. There's a presentation that's due on the 23rd. I have no assignments due when the university is closed from the 24th through when does it open up again? I have the assignments picking up again on the 4th. So the university officially reopens on the 2nd, but I'm not giving you any work on that day. So you can expect 3 or so assignments each day. And again, if this were a regular Monday, Wednesday, Friday semester-long class, you can think of each of these 3 assignments as something that you would do on, here's Monday's assignment, here's Wednesday, here's Friday, etc. August Wilson wrote what they call a cycle, a collection of 10 plays. These 10 plays were set in a different decade during the 20th century. And we're going to be reading through those plays. Now, because this is a compressed class, I'm not actually requiring you to read all 10 of those plays. I certainly encourage you to. Here in this announcement, I've mentioned the books. Of the 10 plays in August Wilson's Century Cycle, I'm requiring everybody in the class to read these 4. This is a 5th book that's required that is not an August Wilson play, but it's a book about how to read literature. I teach that in a lot of classes. My students tend to like it. And of the 10 plays, we're going to cover all 10 in this class, but each student is only required to read and engage with a total of 6. So based on your last name, here are the 2 plays that I've assigned. If you have a particular relationship with one of these plays and you're, dying to review it, you can swap with somebody else in the class. We can talk about that a little bit later. I will note that this weekend on Netflix, a movie version of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is coming out. Now, in this class, we are studying the words that August Wilson put into his scripts. We're not studying the way any individual actor or director or filmmaker chose to represent that script. So if you watch this movie on Netflix, great, wonderful. Music is a huge part of August Wilson's plays. I'm really looking forward to seeing this movie. But the course asks you to read the script. It is very important for you to understand the difference between what you can learn from watching an individual performance of a play and what the playwright has written in the script. So again, our focus in this class, although we are reading plays, the acting or set design or costume design and so forth. Those are all important parts of theater history. But in a literature class, our proper focus is the words that August Wilson wrote. So anyway, just giving you, let's go back again to let's go to the modules page. I've broken the class up into 3 modules. In the first module, here we have, broken up by days. The first play that we'll look at is Gem of the Ocean. We'll look at Act 1 the first day and Act 2 the second day. These say draft because I haven't yet uploaded a lecture that I'm going to ask you to watch and respond to as you read read those plays, but those are coming. Day 4, we're looking at both act. This is Monday. We're looking at both Act 1 and 2 of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and then based on your last name, you will pick your play, and you'll be looking at that on day 5, and then on day 6 you'll give a presentation. And all of these items, click on it, you will see exactly what I'm asking you for. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer your questions, but in this lecture I'm not going to go through the individual assignments. Module 2 will kind of do the same thing over again. We're going to look on, I will do a lecture, everybody will read Fences, and I'll sort of walk you through that. Then there will be some readings about August Wilson's life and times and legacy. I haven't exactly decided what those are. We'll see what the class interest is and how the presentations go. Then I will do a lecture. Everybody will read King Hedley II, Act 1 and 2. And then everybody will have the second assigned play according to your last name. There's another presentation. And then the last week of class, these are all the steps towards creating a final research project. There's a creative critical component, multimedia component, and a research component. So since freshman composition culture is a prerequisite for this class, this structure should be pretty similar in that there's a creative component and a written research component. And so I will be asking you to demonstrate what you learned from your freshman comp class, and we'll be adding to those skills that you've already learned. Okay, so again, if you are adding into this class, don't panic. Catch up as soon as you can. Put into this class the same amount of time that you would put into a semester-long class. You'll be fine. Just recognize that it's a compressed time period. We just have to put in a lot of work every weekday in order to stay caught up. As an asynchronous class, there is no set class meeting time. It's all online components, but there are regular deadlines. So this is not the kind of class where you can check out for a week and a half and then do 2 weeks worth of work. We will be. I do want us all literally to be on the same page as we go through and discuss the reading. So there will be regular deadlines. Online discussions are very important to this class because in any literature class, practicing discussing with your peers your reactions to the literary works is a huge part of understanding them and practicing the ability to analyze literary works at the college level. Some of the first exercises will be designed to help you develop that college level literary close reading skill. So I'm not going to talk a whole lot about that in this lecture. Time management is an important component of any online class. I like teaching an online class because I can do the work at a time that works for me. However, I do have to block out time in my schedule in order to devote to this course, because if I don't, then my in-person obligations, my wife says you need to change a light bulb or I have to shovel the snow off the driveway. Any of these little in-person obligations will take up all my time unless I'm very protective of my time and I schedule it and kind of make sure that I get my class obligations taken care of. Otherwise, this class becomes an afterthought, and that's a recipe for disaster. So under the category of time management is important. Time management is important, and time management is important. Okay, so as I record this video, all the assignment dates and submission details are visible in Canvas. I just walk you through what the course Canvas page looks like. I look forward to seeing the submissions start to come in so that I'll get to know you and your work. I didn't actually show you the syllabus, but I did show you the link where you can find the syllabus that has all the contact information. You're welcome to contact me through Canvas or by email. The syllabus rather explains what to do if you miss a deadline. It explains the course goals. It explains my policies for academic integrity, all that good stuff. When I ask students who are about to graduate from one of my classes or graduate Seton Hill, what message they would leave for my future students, they often say things like, put your best effort into every assignment, stay on track. You'll be glad that you stayed on track for the smaller assignments because those small assignments make it easier for you to do the bigger assignments later on in the semester. They say, don't be afraid to ask your instructor for help. And sometimes, years after they graduate, they send me messages like this. I stumbled upon a letter of recommendation that you wrote for me in 2006, and I wanted to send you a quick thank you. Upon entering your classroom all those years ago, I was very intimidated. Upon leaving, I was inspired. Reading your kind words about me all these years later mean so very much. Um, Here's a student who writes, it took me a long time to understand your approach to teaching, but I'm grateful for every class that I took with you. Thank you for encouraging me and challenging me. So that's some of the feedback that I've gotten from students. I look forward to getting to know you through the work that you're submitting and through the discussions that we'll be having. So I hope that our journey through the works of August Wilson will be exciting and interesting and memorable. Not only the Ma Rainey's Black Bottom movie that's coming out, but in January, the United States Postal Service is issuing a forever stamp devoted to August Wilson. Uh, Again, born in Pittsburgh, he didn't write any of his famous plays while he was living in Pittsburgh, but 9 out of 10 of the plays that we'll be studying are set in Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh features very strongly in his artistic makeup, and the characters have strong connections to Pittsburgh. So I hope you will find that enjoyable. So I look forward to your work. Happy reading, and I'll see you online.